Welcome to Tuesday's edition of Finish First Financially's live stream. Goran Radanovic here. Thanks so much for joining me. So today, what to talk about? Well, how about we talk about something that's very important, and that is, sorry, I'm just quickly switching off the sound of on this phone so that we aren't disturbed. You know, mentality, attitude, the way your perspective, your outlook determines pretty much everything in life. I really realized that with attitude, regardless of what it is that you approach, if you approach a job and you hate it, you see it as your enemy, then you're going to act in a certain way. You're going to be annoyed by the small things. You're going to see the small problems as though they're big because you're already annoyed. You've already made up your mind about this job, and any small thing that kind of sparks your annoyance will just be magnified, and it'll just seem a lot bigger than what it is. You're going to be, just irritated by everything regarding your job. You're not going to get along with your workers. You're just, have a negative energy surrounding you, and it's going to be passed on to them, and they're not going to enjoy being in your company. And all of that really applies to money as well. Your attitude about money. How do you view it? How do you behave towards money? What's your relationship like with money? And one of the things that I realized is so important is exactly just what I said, is to have a good relationship with money. And that can only happen if you respect money, if you see it as your friend, if you see it as a resource that's going to enable you to have a better life. And if you've got all of these negative thoughts about money, you've been conditioned to believe all kinds of things that are really preventing you from having a significant amount of money, then you're not going to get it, because that's the message that you're sending out to the world. One of the things, when I talk about respect, sure, it's so hot in here. When I talk about having respect towards money, all I need to do to know if you've got respect towards money is to look at your wallet. And if I look at your wallet and you've got notes which are not sorted in a numerical order, so you don't have tens first, 20s, then 50s, then hundreds, then 200s in your wallet, and some of the notes are even folded in the corners, they're not facing head to head, that shows me that you don't really have respect towards money. You need to treat money well. So arrange those notes neatly, head to head, and then also make sure that they're in a sequence. The denominations are starting from lower to the highest, or highest from to the lowest, however you want it. But there needs to be some kind of order. If you don't respect your partner, if you're in a relationship or in a marriage, are they going to stay with you? No, the chances are eventually that they're going to be fed up and they're going to leave. And the same holds true for money. If you don't respect money, if you don't view it as a valuable resource, it's not going to come to you, and it will also leave you. So you need to have a good relationship with money in order to build on what you've already got. So you can have more of it, and so that you've got a bright future ahead with it. A relationship with money is exactly the same as a relationship with a person. So take that into consideration. One of the things, obviously, that I talk about is how you're conditioned when you grew up. What were the thoughts going through your head? And there's always people who are telling you stuff about money that isn't true. And especially when you were young, you kind of sponged up all of that information and stuck with you. And you may have heard things like only criminals have a lot of money, people who have accumulated a lot of money are usually bad, they've done something wrong. And, like the old phrase, something like money is the root of all evil and stuff like that. The thing you must understand about money is that money will only do what people do with it. Money on its own can't do anything. A physical note, if I put it on a table, it's not going to move unless a draft blows it off the table. But otherwise, it's just going to stay there. It can't do anything without a person's actions. So it's the person who determines what money is going to do. Is it going to be for a good cause? Is it going to be for a bad cause? It's all up to the person. So money itself can't do anything without a human actually controlling it and deciding what he or she is going to do with it. So if anything, it's people who can be evil when they decide to do certain nefarious activities with money. So money itself can be used for good, it can be used for bad, but it's up to you to decide. But money itself, how can it be bad? I don't understand. I've been dirt poor, as in homeless, like literally living on the street. And I'm currently debt free and I have savings. And I can tell you that this situation is much better than being on the street. So anybody telling me about money doesn't give you, a certain level of content or satisfaction or happiness, whatever it is that you want to call it, then I don't know what they're thinking. Seriously, because if anything, money solves a lot of problems. It really does solve a lot of problems. The more money you have, the more freedom that you've got, as I've spoken about before in other live streams. It just gives you a lot of freedom. But more importantly, if you get sick, people always talk about your health is the most important thing. And I agree. But once you get sick, how are you going to recover? What is it that's going to bring you back to your status quo? Your situation where you were healthy. What's going to revive you to that position? You can't hug a doctor and kiss him and say, please perform this operation on my son, on me, on whoever. It's going to be money that will most likely fix that situation. So you need money for tough times like that. And you need money for good times as well to enjoy yourself. That's just the way it is. Money is important. And you're going to do yourself a massive favor if you are in a good relationship with it. So I think you're going to do yourself a massive favor if you view money as a positive resource, as something that can help you out in life, and something that's just necessary, whether you like it or not. It's necessary. It's one of those things. It's like, person not liking oxygen. Okay, you don't have to like it, but at least have respect towards it because that's what's helping you to breathe. So obviously everything that I say is not financial investment advice. This is purely for entertainment purposes, but I've got an article on finishfirstfinancially.com that I've written. We're going to take a look at it. Also on the website, you can buy my book, From Homeless to Debtless with Savings. You can book a consultation with me, and you can also read blogs, which are completely for free. So let's look at the article that I wrote on there called Have the Right Mindset About Money. So I wrote this September last year. Yeah, this was actually just after my birthday. All right, so let's see what I wrote. In order to manage money well, you need to develop the right mindset about it. Thinking negatively about money will likely lead you to be broke and leave you wondering why you constantly revert to a financial rut after getting out of it. Okay, so that's an important concept actually that I just mentioned. You know, a person who's conditioned themselves to be a spender can build up savings eventually and can be in a reasonable financial position for a certain period of time. But what happens after a certain period is that they regress. Yeah, they go back to their old ways, and they eventually wind up back to being broke, living paycheck to paycheck, because being a spender who is who they are. They haven't really conditioned themselves to be a saver, and that's really what's necessary to have a long-lasting solution. Spender will maybe have some financial reprieve for a certain period. They might feel like, oh, okay, I've got some money in the bank, but then eventually they'll think, oh, geez, I've got that money. Why don't I spend it? Yeah, that's exactly how spenders think. They just want to spend their money. They can't see the value in accumulating more and more money. When they see money in their bank account, it's like, oh, that feels strange. Why is it there? It should be spent. That's how they think. So they have some money for a certain period, and then they don't have any money because they've spent it, and this cycle just keeps repeating itself. And that has a lot to do with your mentality about money, your behavior, your attitude towards money. I think it's the root cause of so many people's financial troubles. They've got the wrong mindset about money. They don't understand that it's their friend, it's a valuable resource to help them towards having more freedom, because the more money you have, the more freedom you're going to have. You're able to make certain decisions when you've got money that you're not able to when you're broke and living paycheck to paycheck, and you're just wondering how you're going to pay the bills at the end of the month and hopefully pay off your debt somehow. So that's extremely important to keep in mind. It's the root. It's really the root. Once you fix that root, the mindset about money, that's when you take different actions. You make different decisions, which obviously leads to better actions, and that usually leads to better results. So that's how it works. So let's get back into it. The psychology of money plays a huge role in improving your finances. Many people struggling financially harbor negative thoughts about money. The most common one is that money is the root of all evil. Thinking that is likely to make you avoid money so that you can stay away from nefarious activities. I've discovered 3 misconceptions about money that many people have. Getting rid of them and viewing money as a valuable resource will help you to get out of debt and build savings. Okay, so the first one, money isn't linked to happiness. I don't know about you, but I'm happier having money than being broke. When my finances weren't in order and I was drowning in debt, I would get agitated by the smallest thing. My life seemed out of my control and unexpected expenses would always crop up. Oh man, isn't that the truth? I think they say when it's raining, when it rains, it pours, and that's really what it's like. That's what it felt like when I was just losing everything. Lost my apartment, then my car got repossessed, and I had to sell all my furniture to fix my car, and then the car broke down again, and it was just like one thing after the other, just piling on top of me. It was crazy, and felt like it was never going to stop. But fortunately for me, I made some wise decisions that helped me to get out of that rut and got on the path to paying off my debt and building savings. Going back to being agitated, have you noticed people in traffic who get so angry and frustrated at like the smallest thing? Somebody like cuts them off and they slam the hooter and like they just go crazy. And you'd think that it's because of that. But that's just like the weeds popping out, where the root cause is they've either got some financial problems or problems at home regarding relationships or something else has happened, there's always a root cause that is much bigger than what it appears on the surface. So usually when you've got money problems, you are irritated by the smallest thing. You worried about paying your bills, and everything just seems to bother you. Smallest thing can set you off, and it's not a great position to be in. That's not how you want to live your life. So sorting out your finances provides a tremendous amount of relief for your mental problems. It just helps you emotionally, mentally, and releasing the tension from your head, because you've now solved your problems, actually helps your body, because all of your if you're feeling stiff in your body, that usually stems from the negative thoughts in your head. What you think about here just gets transferred down to your body. So when you provide yourself with emotional and mental relief, you've sorted out all the problems in here. Down here is what gets sorted out as well, because you just feel more relaxed, you feel better, and you just feel different. You no longer have that tension in your shoulders. They now drop. They're no longer up here and feel so stiff. They're just completely relaxed. But you need to have the right mindset about money in order to get on that journey to solve your financial problems. Okay, so let's carry on. Think about the last time it rained when you were outside. I'm sure it was nice to run inside your house to seek shelter and avoid getting wet. How about when your stomach rumbled and you put food in it? Even better, were you happy when you traveled to visit your family for the holidays? What is the common resource that enabled you to seek shelter, to consume food, and to see your family? Money. That's what it was. To have shelter, you need money. To eat food, you need money. And to travel, you need money. That's what it is. So money is an extremely valuable resource. And I'm going to keep saying that because I really want you to understand that it is. It's an extremely valuable resource that helps you with pretty much everything. Money provides you with content, satisfaction, and happiness to a certain degree every single day. It doesn't seem like it because we take certain things for granted, and some of us refuse to acknowledge that money provides us with the basic essentials for survival. Just think about the last time that you weren't able to make a payment on a debt, or an unexpected medical expense popped up and you had no money for it. Did that make you happy? It's actually a good question, right? Oh, I should have changed to the article. Apologies about that. Let's just change right now. Okay, so right now I'm there. So let me read that again. I just said, just think about the last time that you weren't able to make a payment on a debt, or an unexpected medical expense popped up and you had no money for it. Did that make you happy? I doubt it. But when you had the money to replace a car tire or send your child to a pediatrician, were you glad that you had the money for it? I sure hope so, because your life would have been a lot more difficult had you not been able to fund those expenses. So just think about that, right? Saying, oh no, I don't need money. I'm not worried about it. It's not important. And then a medical expense comes up. Your tire gets a puncture. You can't drive it. You need to take your kid to school, but you can't because you don't have any petrol in the car. And then once you fill up your car, you're able to take your kid to school, you get the tire replaced, and everything else, all the other problems get solved because of money. Then you're like, oh, okay, maybe it does have some value. Maybe this is a valuable resource. Okay, so it's all good and well to say that money isn't important, but it is extremely important. And the fact that you're in your house watching videos on YouTube just shows how valuable money is, because you've got a roof over your head and you're able to pay for internet, so you're watching videos on YouTube. So just think about all of the things that you would miss out on if you didn't have money. I mean, you can't do anything without money. Even if you're sitting at home doing nothing, you have to pay for electricity. You have to eat. All of those things are supplied with by money. So just remember how valuable it is. Okay, let's go back to the article. There is nothing wrong with believing that money brings you a certain level of happiness. Absolutely not. Why would there be anything wrong with that? It's fine to believe that. I'm not saying that if you're a completely miserable and ungrateful person, that money will make you a pleasant and happy person. But money makes life a lot easier, and it's a valuable resource that provides a certain level of content, satisfaction, and happiness. Money will make me a bad person. This is another misconception that many people have. So let's see, I wrote, don't let movies fool you into believing that all rich people are bad people. Sure, there are some rich people who are jerks, but I'm willing to bet that they were unpleasant before they became rich. I discovered that money makes you more of what you already are. That's actually so true. If you're a mean person, the chances are high that you'll be more arrogant and pompous after you receive money. If you're a nice person who enjoys helping others, money will provide you with more resources to help a bigger number of people. The more money you have, the more people you can help, and to a higher degree than when your funds were limited. So just think about that for a second. How important that is, right? If you want to help people and you've got certain funds, sure, you can help them, and then you run out of money and you can't even help yourself. Then when you get more money, you're able to put some of that away for your safety net, and then you're going to have a significant amount of money to help others if you want to. But you've got that option. That's the thing. Money gives you options. But if you didn't have the money, you wouldn't have the option of helping them. Sure, there's other ways of helping them. You can let them stay at your place and share food and so forth. But what if there are things that require you to provide with money? How are you going to do that if you have limited funds or have no funds? So the more money you have, the more people you're able to help. I discovered that money magnifies who you already are. For most people, the pendulum didn't swing the other way once they received more money. It usually wasn't the case that the nice person became a terrible person because of money. If that happened, other factors were involved that usually had very little to do with money. Good debt exists. I couldn't disagree more. I'm completely against debt because I had lots of it, and it was one of the reasons that I ended up homeless. Had I not had debt, I would have been able to dedicate the money for my monthly payments to my savings account. Then, once my income stopped, I would have had the savings account as a safety net. However, since I used most of my income to pay creditors, I didn't have a savings account. Debt is the number one enemy of financial freedom. Just keep that in mind. As long as you've got debt, as I just mentioned, debt is the number one enemy of financial freedom. As long as you have debt, you cannot be financially free. And it also indicates that you're living a life above your means, because if you could afford those things, you would have paid cash with them. But because you didn't pay cash, you use borrowed money to live a certain level of living, to live a certain standard of living. And the only way you can be free, the only way you're going to stop worrying about collectors not calling you is if you pay off all of your debt. Once you're debt free, then you can dedicate a significant amount to your savings and then eventually go into investments. So as long as you have debt, you are not financially free. You owe the bank, you owe your creditors, you have to work until you pay them off. Let's get back into the article. It is impossible to be financially free when you have debt. The Bible is correct when it says that the borrower is a slave to the lender. When you owe money, your primary motivation for going to work is to pay off debt. Sure, you might love your job and You feel like you're contributing to society and to your community and so forth. But at the end of the day, let's be honest. If you didn't have, if you've got debt and you didn't have a job, how are you going to pay that debt? So you absolutely need an income in order to pay off your debt. That's why you have a job. You might love it, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that you are there at your job to receive an income so you can pay your debts. That's really what it is. Once you pay off debt, your reason for going to work is different. It's to increase your net worth. After paying off your debt, you may even reconsider continuing to work a job you dislike. You're no longer pressured to attend a job you don't like because you have to pay creditors. And when you don't have any loan payments, you have more money. That means a larger savings account. But what if you have no savings and you want to buy a home? Is it a good idea to take out a loan instead of paying rent? It took me 6 years to get out of debt and build up a big enough savings account to buy an apartment in a third world country for cash. If I can do it, having started literally from the street, then you can also do it. Sure, it's going to take you several years to save up money for a beginner home. But once you pay it with cash, you've got shelter for the rest of your life without worrying about the bank or any other institution taking it away from you. You'll truly own it, and there's no greater feeling than being a homeowner. Remember, 50% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. They're 1 month away from living on the street because they're drowning in debt. Oh, man. So, as I mentioned, one of the things, once you develop the right mindset about money, is that, and you get on that path to paying off all of your debts. Once you pay it off, like that journey, if I look at my journey while I was busy paying off my debt, talk about a 6 or 7 year period where I went from being in debt to saving a significant amount of money. And I think the first 5 years was the period where I paid off the debt. And then like 2 years is where I saved up that significant savings account. And that's because the grueling period is when you're paying off your debt. That's the worst part. That feels like it's never ending and it's just dragging on and on. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But once you pay off the debt, building up a big savings account is a lot faster than that period that you needed to pay off your debt because you don't have those debt payments anymore. So you're able to dedicate all of those debt payments, that amount, to your savings now. It's no longer going out, it's going into your savings. And then you add more the next month and next month, and just keeps compounding with interest. And then that just grows and grows and grows. So that's one of the things that's important to keep in mind if you're in debt and you're wondering, this is taking forever, it's a grueling process. I agree with you. It is a grueling process, but also just understand that once you're out of debt, the process to save up money is expedited significantly because you don't have any of those debt payments. And it's very possible, once you're debt free, to save up at least 50% of your income to put into savings. It really is possible. And even more, and I was saving 90% of my income. If you can believe that, my expenses were 10%. No debt, and no other necessary expenses such as subscriptions and all of those, nothing. I just had, this massive amount that was going into savings every single month. So keep that in mind. You need to develop the right mindset about money. If you want to read this article, it's on finishfirstfinancially.com. And I'm going to have another topic for you tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday to Friday. I'll be doing the live streams until eventually we have enough people. Even now, as I think I've been doing this for 3 weeks now, there's still 0 people watching. It's just me like talking to the camera. There's nobody watching. But maybe one day that will change, and we can get to a point where the people are calling in and they would like some help with regards to a financial situation. I can tell them what I did in that situation or what I would do, and they can use it or not use it. It's up to them. But that will be more interesting once we get to that stage. Who knows when that's going to be? Hopefully it's soon. But as it is, I just have to keep pumping out the content, and hopefully the live streams grow until we have enough people to make this live stream even more entertaining and more educational. So until tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, check you then. Bye bye.